on the crest of a high hill, from which you can see far into the distance, nestled into the contours of the hill, is a beautiful home, solid marble that glistens in the sun. Neatly arranged flower beds surround it, and even in the midday sun there's cool shade under the branches of huge trees lining each side of the walkway leading up to the entrance of that home. Several people live there, and they work together, and they're truly contented. I built that home when I was about 13 years of age, as I was delivering the morning newspaper on my paper route. It's a dream home, built in my imagination out of the infinity of possibilities that present themselves when you believe in God's new world. How many of you have built a home before in your imagination? Probably numbers. Well, it's interesting. When you build your own home, and especially when it's in the mind, so no financial or time restraints, you can make everything exactly the way you want it. Lots of scope for creativity. However, we know too that buildings and landscapes are only a setting, very much like stage props. And the kind of people that live there are much more important, much more crucial to one's contentment than architecture. Many have tried to build their dream home in this present system of things. But there's just too much wrong with the world to be doing that now. And for Christians, so much more important work to do. And so for most of Jehovah's people, they've decided to be patient about that dream home and to wait for the new system of things to build it and to focus their power and energy on another kind of building, spiritual building, building disciples, like Jesus, building congregations of loyal servants of Jehovah's God. And just as when you build a home, you build it first of all in your mind, do you not? Only later, maybe with hands and tools. What about building this morning in our imagination, congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses? What might be for you or for me, just an ideal congregation, a dream congregation. Because my cup is to build it in real life. Well, when a couple are thinking about building a house, often they're looking around for ideas, going through magazines, looking over house plans. And at a given point, the husband might say, now this is what I would like to have in our house. And maybe later his wife would say, I would like to have something like this. So maybe you heard the comments of a similar nature of being party to such a conversation yourself. Well then, let's think about that congregation that we mentioned a few months ago. What would you like to see in that congregation? Who would you like to see in that congregation? Let me tell you about some of the ones that I would like to see in a congregation of God. I won't mention names, and likely you wouldn't be knowing personally the ones I'll be referring to anyways, although you may know some that are quite a bit like that. There's one brother that I have in mind that I'd like to have in my congregation. For this morning, we're going to be calling Brother John Burger. I would like to have that brother in my congregation because of the hearty welcome that he extends to all the brothers and sisters and others at the Kingdom Hall. His handshake is not like a dead fish, not a grill. Of course, we do need to be careful. We don't want to be crunching somebody's hand. But with this brother that I mentioned, it's not just a blah day, how's it going? There's some enthusiasm there. It's not just a matter of polite form, and it's not for show. He's glad to see you. He likes the brothers and sisters. He's not abashed to show. You feel just like Paul and Luke must have felt when the brothers in Rome trekked out 43 miles to the marketplace of Antioch to greet them. What it is, that must have given them. An interesting verse in this connection. Please turn with me to Romans 16, verse 2. Where Paul mentions a sister who would be coming soon to Rome, Pblcdscrs, 16 and 2. He said, so that you may welcome her in the Lord in a way worthy of the Holy One, and give her whatever help you need. So, our brothers and sisters and friends of the truth, when they come to the Kingdom Hall, are certainly worthy of a hearty welcome. Did you ever see a dog that was so happy to see someone that the tail was swinging so hard that it almost wagged the dog? Well, that's the kind of welcome to that brother that I mentioned gives you at the Kingdom Hall. And it gives you a good feeling of being wanted and belonging. I'd like everyone in my congregation to feel that way. So that's why I'd like to have that brother in the congregation at the building. Now, another one also that comes to mind, we call him specifically brother number 2. Every congregation has a brother like this one, and preferably in one of the front rows for each and every talk that is given. Because this brother is a picture of rapid attention. In his facial expression, you know that he's listening, that he understands, that he agrees with what's being said, and appreciates what he's saying. Of course, that can give the brothers who are teaching from the platform a real boost. Of course, many of the brothers and sisters are listening well, but it doesn't always show. And sometimes you can decipher in their relatively blank expression if they're with you or 1,000 miles away. You're getting the picture, or you've lost them some way back. And if you're a little bit nervous, as many of the brothers are, of feeling a little bit inadequate for the task, as most of us do sometimes, why that lack of reaction can just be enough to make you lose your poise. And so there you are on the platform, sharing this information that you work hardest to can for the others, but now beginning to think with a lack of reaction, which maybe because you know brothers and sisters after all. The brothers and sisters know it already. We've heard this many times before. You see with the undermining effect that self-reflection can have, then you're no longer giving the material the enthusiasm that it really deserves. As you see, I don't think that would happen with our brother that I mentioned in the congregation. No, his nod would be telling you that he agrees with what you're saying. And his eyes would be telling you that he is curious about what you're going to say next. His obvious keen attention would give you that little boost of feeling. So the brothers would be giving quite a time because they feel better about them, the meetings will be happy. So it'd be nice to have that brother also in the congregation. And another one that comes to mind, you guessed it, brother number 2. I'd like to have him in the congregation because his brother is a very good singer. And he likes the kingdom songs, and he sings right up. So you don't mind singing a little bit louder yourself because his voice is overriding. With a brother or a sister, or a few like that in the congregation, why that can get the whole congregation singing up nicely, and the kingdom song actually sounds like a song of praise. That's beautiful. But when it's not like that, when it would seem that many are afraid to hear their own voice in singing, and if they sing like me, I don't blame them, so that the song is more like a murmur, so that somebody coming into the kingdom hall without the songbook in front of them to read the words couldn't guess at the words that were being sung. And the brothers are singing like their hearts are just not in it. You don't get that singing feeling that you're praising your God in the song. And the meeting of the congregation does not begin or end on the right note. Kingdom songs are actually a part of our worship. That's one of our reasons for being here. Nothing more disconcerting, and I think it can be a time of something serious, than to see brothers and sisters, I suppose, but it's mostly brothers, not sisters, that don't sing the kingdom song. Now, not thinking of really interested ones, dedicated ones, that don't sing the kingdom song. It's not that they're singing softly, it's okay to sing softly, but they're not singing at all. Their lips are not moving in the slightest. So how can you figure that out? is their passive silence and disinclination to join in the song of praise, what is it saying to the rest? We can be sure that every last one of the 144,000 will be singing that new song mentioned in Revelation 14. Shouldn't be the same. Of course, in the matter of singing, what is most important is what is mentioned in Ephesians 5 and 19. I'd like to look at that with you, please. Ephesians 5 and 19. And it says, speak to one another with songs, praises to God, and spiritual songs, singing and accompanying yourself with music in your heart to the thing. Yes, the most important thing, as mentioned here, would be the music in our heart. But if it is in the heart, wouldn't there naturally be desire to express it? As Jesus said, out of the heart abundance, the mouth speaks. So that's why I'd like to have that brother also in the congregation with a brother or sister like him, or be like him, why that gets the whole group into the spirit of the thing. And the songs truly become expressions of praise, a reflection of positive feelings on our God, Jehovah, and His goodness. I would also like to have in my congregation a sister folk. Because this sister that comes to mind is a very good listener. Every congregation needs brothers and sisters that listen attentively, wanting to understand. We need somebody who can talk. Bottled up feelings or frustrations can in time dampen our joy and zeal in kingdom service. And talking things over with someone who's listening with their ears, but not with their heart, is not much better than keeping it all inside. It's nice to be able to talk to someone who will really listen. Not that they have to agree with everything that you say, with all that you've done, or what you might be thinking about doing, but at least they try to understand and sympathize with your feelings, their point of view. But when you really need a sympathetic listener and can't find it, how disappointing that is. Psalm 69 and 20 describes that disappointment. Psalm 69 and 20 in the latter part of the verse. I was hoping for sympathy, but there was none, and for comfort, but I found none. But you see, that wouldn't be the case with someone like that that I mentioned in the congregation. No, surely you would find the caring listener that you're looking for. And when you find her or him and begin to express yourself, they're not going to be communicating to you in body language. I've got problems of my own without being burdened down with yours as well. Or he won't cut you off almost at the outset with, well, it's obvious what you should have done. So you get about behind. Or again, she won't cut you off just when you're beginning to express yourself with, well, if you think that's bad, you should hear what happened to me. And then they go on and on and on with a recent episode in their life, and here you are aching for someone to listen to you, and you're doing all of those things with them. But you see, with Sister 4, it's not like that. And that is the big reason why so many confide in her and have such nice things to say about her. Now, others in the congregation actually know more scriptures than she does, and have more experience in life and in truth, but they don't always listen. So it'd be nice to have a few like her in our congregation. Then there's also Brother Father. I'd like to have him in my congregation because this brother is a real handyman, and his joy in life is in helping people. Spiritually, of course. In fact, he's a fireman. But in other things also. When a lawnmower was broken, or a drain was plugged, or you couldn't figure out how to install some real electric scaffold, Brother Father would usually go to lend a couple of hands. And usually, he was up to do. He knows how things work, how to fix it. I wouldn't want my congregation to become like the world where everything is done for a price, where self-interest is the main motivation. No, we lack a spirit of brothers helping brothers. And a brother like this one that I mentioned can just get that ball rolling. Others catch the spirit and begin to help out perhaps in other ways according to their own means and abilities, and then still others respond in kind. Once that spirit has set in a congregation, it's rare that someone would be taken advantage of. Because everybody's thinking more about helping than being helped. More about giving than receiving. Just like Jesus mentioned that he wanted for his disciples. So it'd be nice to have that other also. Well, as you can imagine, we could go on and on. I will mention one more time. Brothers and sisters, I'd like to have them in my congregation too, because their door is always open. They're just like this, mentioned in the third and final letter of the Apostle John. I'd like to turn there, 3 John, verses 5 and 6. Beloved ones, you show your faithfulness in what you do for the brothers. Even though they're strangers to you, they've given account about your life before the congregation. Please send them on their way and way in a manner worthy of God. Yet the outstanding quality in this brother that the Apostle John appreciated was his hospitality. And it's the thing that this couple mentioned. If you drop in on Brother 56, it would be difficult to leave without at least sitting down with them for a few moments or something hot or something cold. And if you were there for a while, likely they'd be quite distant if you stayed with them. If you would ever be in need, their home would likely be open to you, as it has been for many others over the years. They're just like the early Christians that shared all of the others, held all things in common. That's the expression used in Acts 2:44. I'd like that spirit in my congregation. I wouldn't want a situation where one couple in the congregation wouldn't think of knocking on the door of another couple without an official invitation. That's not the spirit of a family. As Jesus wanted for his disciples. You remember that he promised them that any that would leave father and mother and sister for the sake of the kingdom would receive that even now in the present period 100-fold in mothers and sisters and church. So that's what Jesus wanted for his disciples, and that's what I would like also for my congregation, a family-like spirit, and a couple like that couple I mentioned, and do so much to foster that spirit. It'd be nice to have a few couples like that in the congregation as well. But these are just a few of the ones that come to my mind that I would like to see in the congregation. Perhaps, though, while I've been mentioning them, you've been thinking of some that you know that are quite good like them. Or maybe some others that you would like to have in your congregation for other reasons. We won't know for now who it is or for what special reason that you would like to have them. But here's the idea. Once you would instill in your mind, in your imagination, what would be for you just an ideal congregation of God's people, a dream congregation, then why not try to make that dream come true? Don't just say it could be like that. Start building that congregation right now. Save your dream house for the new 15th century. And start building that new congregation right now. You see, this is exactly the word that Jehovah God has given us to. Yes, all of this might merely be playful imagining, except for the fact that we really are building a congregation. Your own. Not all alone, of course, but you have a share in it, and that can be quite a significant share. And every one of those fine qualities that you have found outstanding in various ones of the brothers and sisters over the years can be built into that congregation. And you can do it. First of all, by cultivating that quality yourself. Why you be the logical one. Since you already know how how important it is what a difference it can make. In our spiritual building work, the very first person to work on would be oneself. Now, in addition, there are probably already in your congregation brothers and sisters that already have, to a degree, these very qualities that you have seen so far. Well, could you not reinforce those qualities in those brothers and sisters with a little bit of praise and commendation? Sometimes all that a person needs, really, is to know that they're doing well, and they will do even better because of it. Maybe that extra bit of encouragement that you could give easily is about all that is needed for them to just grow and blossom further. And then, there's your children. The most powerful influence in their life is you. So we not only consider these very qualities in our hearts, but qualities that are appreciated very much in the congregation and likely on the home front. And finally, there's our ministry. And that's a big part of it building here. As you cultivate interest in the field, and conduct Bible studies, don't just teach facts, but work at building genuine disciples, instilling Christian qualities. And again, why not the ones that you personally appreciate most of all? In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, the Apostle Paul compares our ministry to a building. Remember, he said, Christ Jesus is the foundation, and then we build on that foundation with quality building materials. And he said, let each one keep washing out his clothes. In Newfoundland, we got to know Janet. Janet was very intelligent and handy, skillful with her hands. A few years ago, with the help of her father, she built a beautiful large log home overlooking the Atlantic coast. She designed it herself. A view of the ocean, lovely gardens. It was her dream home. During the time that she was building her chateau, though, something happened in her life. She found the truth. Yes, one day she was visiting some friends, and at the time, a witness couple, called Norman, called hard for Bible discussion, and Janet stayed for the discussion, and she appreciated that she was here. She was curious to know more, particularly about God's promise of a paradise on the earth. So the couple noticed her attentiveness and followed it up. Soon after that, she accepted a Bible test. As she studied, she came to believe what she was learning. But there was stiff opposition from the family, especially from her father. And also at that time, there was a construction project that was a major disruption taking place. However, in spite of it, she was nonetheless making good progress in the way of the truth. But then there was something else that happened that really flattened her with discouragement. She had succeeded in quitting smoking in order to please the Lord. She saw the principle and she quit. However, one evening she was with her family and they were smoking and were coaxing. Finally, she gave them a little cigarette. One is another. She was back smoking. What a mean thing for that to do. But with that, Janet got the truth. She was out about herself, and she stopped coming to the meeting. And she stopped studying. And the couple that had studied with her, why it was a service for them too, because she was doing so well, and they become attached as we do, and now she was no longer. But once someone knows the truth, he doesn't forget, especially if he or she has a good heart. They can't forget. Janet still believes what she learned. Now she had her beautiful dream house. It was complete. But she wasn't happy. In fact, one day she was so melancholy that her father was asking her, why are you so sad? And she answered, it's because I want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. But he was not very happy to hear those words. But I said, don't you think that Jehovah God was very happy to hear that? And he reached out to her with a helping hand, and she started studying again. soon after that, she qualified to become a Cambridge publisher. And she loved the Cambridge preaching work. And always found it. She was like that. The dream house that she had built wasn't very well situated for the congregation. It was almost a 2-hour drive to the city. So she moved into town into a small basement apartment. It wasn't nothing in comparison to the beautiful home that she built. But now she was happy. When we left Newfoundland, her house was for sale. And because it's been built in an out-of-the-way spot, she wasn't expecting to get for it anything near what it was really worth. But no matter, she wanted to sell it for sale. Trying to build your dream house in the presence of nothing. Trying to find true happiness in the context of Satan's wicked system. It's futility. It's an illusion. Now she knew that. What she wanted now was to devote herself to her spiritual, to have a full share in the kingdom of Christ. To bring to others the wonderful hope that had uplifted her spirit. The hope of life in a new world wherein everyone who has the privilege of being there would be able to build a beautiful dream house, surrounded with lovely gardens, but better yet, surrounded with beautiful people as neighbors. It's not just a dream. It's what the Bible calls the real life. It's the life that Jehovah God intended for the human family from the beginning and so on. And if we can be there, we can build a dream house, not just in our imagination, but with hands, tools, and lots of time. But for now, we have another word to occupy. Building disciples of Christ. Building congregations of loyal servants of the Holy Ghost. If we keep busy at our building work and do what we can, why, Jehovah God will surely bless your effort and your congregation. And as He does, and you see it, I think you'll find that it's a nice congregation. As we work on Christian qualities ourselves, we hope that others might be thinking, now that's the kind of brother or sister that I would like to have in my congregation. And we hope most of all that Jehovah God will be thinking, now there's a witness that I really appreciate having in the congregation. Well, it has been a privilege for Susan and me this week to be with you within your congregation for St. Susan. We had good support for the activities throughout the week, despite the cold weather. So we look forward to another visit, which will be in the summertime, but before that, we will have our celebration finally time to do programming. So we'll see you at that time. Next week, we'll be starting with the